Hello, welcome to Country Stitchers. This is our 9th broadcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Deb. Hello.
We'd like to welcome our subscribers back and a special welcome to anybody who's with us for the first time. This is the time in our broadcast where we like to share some of the comments and questions we've gotten from people since the last video. And the first comment came from BBOK, and she noted we had talked about the friction pens and the highlighters. And she sent a note saying she uses the black friction pen to grid her work when she's doing a difficult section. And she said that all it takes for her to eliminate that is an iron when she's done. So some of it is sensitive to heat. I didn't have any luck with the blow dryer on the highlighter, but it's nice to know that if you get good contact with heat, that works as well as the friction.
Yeah.
So
All right.
thank you, BB, for that. And then Pam Lacey just made a comment on our retreat saying that she thought it was really unbelievable that we could be on a retreat with the shop connected to the hotel, and suggested we'd want to watch our plastic while we were there. Yeah. I thought, yes.
I always ask to borrow Liz's.
It has indentations in it now after all of our trips. And then Susan Morelli commented about watching our video and said that she thought we were like peanut butter and jelly.
That was so cute. Oh my goodness,
that was fun
the cutest
too.
comment ever.
I actually used it as part of the title on the video. That was so fun.
That was cute. Yep.
And a quick hello to our friend from the Guild. Hi, Julia.
Oh, hi, Julia.
She stitches with us at the Guild, and we haven't seen her for a while. And she's back to stitching, and we hope to see her again soon at the next meeting, perhaps when we're there.
Yeah.
Wolf Lover 120 commented on the linen that you used on your alphabet sampler and wanted to know what linen that was.
On my Autumn Quaker Forest
I think
one.
that's the one they were referring to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the green...
Antique vintage green. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Because we tried Valor first, and it was way too dark.
Very dark, yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. I like that fabric, but it was too dark for that. So.
And that was, I believe, Picture This Plus is who that one comes from.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure of that.
Right.
And then Mary Vieira, she wanted to know from you. You've done pieces that had glass on them and some without glass. And I might add another side to that. Maybe you could tell her what the difference is between the museum glass and the regular glass. And why you do or don't use it.
Yeah. If it's a darker fabric or it already has a color to it, then I won't always spend the extra money to put it under glass. I've never had a problem yet with the pieces that I don't put under glass. Just going around, just kind of dusting them off once in a while, I've never had a problem. But something like that big, huge project that I did around the world sampler.
The mystery one, yeah.
Yeah, I put that under museum glass, of course, because anything that's really, really going to be an heirloom and that I want to protect forever and ever and ever, I'll definitely do something like that. The museum glass has absolutely no glare to it. It really does. When you're looking at it, it looks like there's no glass on there. You have to really just touch it. It's awesome. It's amazing. So for that piece, I spent the extra money on the museum glass. I'll just put regular, glass on some of my other pieces. But if it's a light colored linen or a lighter fabric, most of the time I put that under glass. It's just if it has a color to the fabric, that I won't.
Okay.
So just personal.
We also had a session with someone who did framing and used glass at our Guild meeting, and if you go to someone who's reputable and experienced, they can also give you advice too, and they should also know how to space it, the glass from the needlework if they put it in. And does the glass, museum glass, if I remember right, does it also have a filter for light to take out the light that might fade?
So it would never get discolored. I mean, it is worth it if you have a piece, something like that. It is worth it.
That you spent years on.
Yeah, it's worth it to spend the extra money for that. Not for every piece, that's for sure. Well, not for most pieces probably, but something like that, yeah.
So, thank you very much, Wolf Lover. and Mary, thank you for your glass comment. And HM Stitches had a question about our project rolls.
Oh.
So I thought maybe we could talk about a couple of things to do with our project rolls. She was talking about the ones that you hold in your hand and stitch with, and I have sort of a shortcut to doing those. I run out of paper towels and toilet paper all the time.
And we save our rolls.
And that's what the center of these actually is. The smaller one that Deb has her eye stitch band on is the toilet paper roll. It's 4 inches. This one is not actually either. It's a hybrid of a paper towel roll. I wanted it to be a little shorter. I didn't want the full length of the paper towel roll.
Yeah.
So I shortened it thinking I had quite a few small pieces that I could use on this one. And then what I do is I take batting, the
Like warm and natural?
the polyfiber fill.
Oh, for the inside.
Not the flat batting, the fill. I misspoke. For the inside of the tube.
Yeah.
And I just pack it till I can't pack it anymore. And then when it starts to come out the other end of the tube, and I know I've got it really well packed, then I cover it with my fabric. I stitch this first, and I do it on the machine. I stitch a little tube, and I leave enough room that I wrap the tube itself in the warm and natural batting that you were talking about. I use 2 layers to give it a little bit of puff. And then I have a trick, and I haven't told you about this one yet. I did it last time when I made the ones for Jan and Misty.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to make sure it was snug to the outside, but if it's too snug, your batting rides up the tube while you're slipping the fabric over. And I thought about it, and I took the bags that your produce comes in, you know, the little bags at the grocery store. I keep those for scraps in the kitchen and stuff. And I slipped it on over the batting. Then I slipped the actual cover over that, and then I held on to the cover at one end and slipped the baggie out. I was so proud of myself for that one. So anyway, that's all there is to this. And then with the batting coming out, I put I gather the end, of course. I put the little casing in to put the ribbon in. Once I snug it up, then I make sure I have it really good and tight. I tie the other one shut, and that's all there is to this. So.
And the buttons
Oh,
are
yes.
just...
That's right. I do. I just take buttons out of my
Decorative.
button cabinet, and I just slide my ribbon through those, and I tie it down real tight to hold the casing shut.
Yeah.
And any variation that you add to it just makes it that much fun.
Yeah.
So enjoy it.
I like to repurpose and reuse.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's not a paper towel roll in sight around
Yeah.
our neighborhoods. So thank you for your comment.
what was it that you stored one time? You were saving
Oh
the
my gosh.
plastic containers from Oreos.
Yes.
What did you put in there?
I was using
It was
them.
perfect.
I was using them to lay my my threads in. The containers that your
Yeah.
Oreos come in, the plastic trays, are just the width of the skeins of floss or the silk skeins or
Yeah.
the water lily watercolor skeins. So I had a bin. She laughed at me, and I stacked those in, and I laid my threads in, and I stacked
But it
them
was
up.
clever. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I just didn't want to have to shuffle through everything.
Oh, you
in
just
my
wanted
bin.
more Oreos.
Well, that helped too. They are not making heads and tails anymore.
What?
Well, it forces me to have to buy vanilla and chocolate and
And
make
make
my
your
own. So we now have twice as many Oreos in our
We're
bin.
going to sit down one day and just make Oreos.
Oh, Rick laughed at me, but
Oh my
yeah, that's
gosh.
what we're doing.
That's cute.
Ann G had a question about the easels that we did, our flat fold easels. She wanted to know what I did my border in, and also whether or not we can get the patterns. And I have kind of a negative answer to both of those right now, but one will change. The thread I used was Yawning Mountain. It's
Oh,
a
it's
beautiful
pretty.
variegated floss, and if Vicki Clayton watches this video, she is the proprietor of Hand Dyed Fibers, and she was dyeing her own fibers at that time, and we met her at a retreat. So we snapped up one of those colors,
Yeah.
and then bought a couple more over the first couple years, but she's no longer making silk and cotton floss, so you can't get that color anymore.
Yeah.
And then as far as the pattern goes, the way those work, if it's commissioned specifically for a retreat or a guild or a company, the designer has to wait a certain period of time. And in the case with the Jamboree, I think it's 12 months. So that pattern may be available by Sue Hillis.
Hopefully this fall.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So keep your eyes open.
Yeah. If we hear of anything, we'll let you know.
Yeah. So once the retreat's been done, then they can release it to the public like a certain period of time afterwards.
Okay.
I know some of the guild training sessions, they wait 2 years.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but there's hope on that one. And then,
Or at least on half of that one.
yeah. Paulette Peters had a question about the cards that we showed from Tina last week.
Or when we got them from Julie, you mean?
Oh, Julie, yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So on the back of the card, it just says Hands Across the Sea Samplers.com.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can actually get them from there, but I did see when we were at Salty Yarns even that they had some of these. So maybe your local needlework shop would have some that you could purchase, or online from maybe, I don't know if some of the Etsy shops would have it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You might be able to get it from Julie herself, Gulf Coast Stitches. She has a website, and you can purchase things from her. She might have, I don't know, she might have it herself, but
There are other types of cards like this too. I've seen Mary Beale had a series of cards out back in the 90s and 80s that she put out that had patterns on them. So maybe if you just Google needlework greeting cards,
yeah,
you might come up with something.
yeah, that is pretty. All right.
Now, one other comment we had, and this one was from Sandy in Alaska. Hi, Sandy. Sandy noticed our discussion on the little fabric rolls, and we mentioned Vanna's tutorial. She's made several of them, and what she does is instead of buying the mailing tubes for posters, she goes to her fabric store, and in the section where they have the decorator fabric and the long cores that they wrap, those are discarded, and she just asks for one of those.
That's
and she
clever.
uses those. It's very clever.
Clever.
So I thanked Sandy in her
Yeah.
comment, and I'm certainly going to check it out when I'm at Joann's or any other fabric store next time. And I'm looking in the corner of Deb's craft room right now and thinking of something else too along those lines,
yeah.
Sandy. Deb has 3 or 4 different sizes of gift wrapping rolls, heights, and circumferences.
yeah.
So that's another option, although those won't be as heavy
Right,
as
but
the tubes that are at the
you know, it would even be something like for
sewing
when we
fabric.
do something like
Exactly.
that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and
Perfect.
those, by the way, that she's talking about, Sandy was mentioning, are the ones that are done on Vanna's tutorial that you store
Where
your
you-
finished projects
Okay.
in.
Where you have like that long fabric piece, and you kind of
Yes.
like roll up
Stack your finished
yeah,
pieces and roll them all up.
It's nice to have a little bit of each.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
I really have
Yeah.
enjoyed the short ones, and I like the idea of the big ones. We're
Yeah.
working on those. I haven't got there yet. So that's pretty much our comments for
have,
this week.
Someone wanted to know my color changes for
Oh, that's right. You mentioned that.
this. Do we? I don't know if we have the name down. Do we?
I
Thought we did. But anyway, while you look for that, someone had mentioned for my Serenity Harbor the color changes that I made for my water, because most of this is DMC, but I just had changed a few colors that I wanted for it to look variegated. So I wanted to let you know the water, the darker shaded portion of the water is going to be Kentucky Bluegrass, and that is Weeks Dye Works. And then the lighter shade of the water is called Seafoam, and that's also Weeks Dye Works. So that's the 2 colors.
I find
then
it amazing
I have.
to look at that and think water. Until I'd seen it, I
Yeah.
would not have thought how real that looked.
Yeah, it's really cool. Turned out really well. So there's your option if you'd like to do that.
Did you hold that up yet?
I did. I held
Oh,
it up
okay.
a little bit, yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah.
I was looking at.
See?
I was trying to find a name, and I goofed. I don't have the name of the person who asked you that question written down.
So
But thank you for
Anyway.
asking.
yeah. Yes. All right. Is that it
So-
for questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Should we
Okay.
look at your
My work's in
work?
progress?
Yes.
Sure. All right, I have a new one to show you because it's summer, so I can bring it out because it's floral. This is actually from Just Cross Stitch magazine from 2009.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's 2 parts to it. So the first part I think started in April or May, because the second part's in June of 2009. So it's called the Floral Alphabet. This is what it looks like. Really, really pretty. It's all DMC. And this time I actually did do all DMC. Shocker. All right, this is what I have done so far. I'm about halfway.
It's so pretty.
Halfway finished.
Now, once again, I'm going to ask the ever popular question.
What's that?
Your back stitching.
Yes, I have a lot of back stitching.
You did more than what I can see on the pattern for sure.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'll
Yes.
just throw that out there.
Yeah, I did. But I'm pretty sure that was
Speaking of
the-
which,
Oh, wait a second. I think this is also, I'm doing it over 1 and it's on 28 count. And it's just a white, just a,
that
something I had in my
that's an even
stash.
weave.
It's an even weave. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, that's halfway finished.
Deb had someone ask her, I think this is a cute question that you got from an actual living, breathing person. They don't stitch and they're not a needle worker, much like my twin sister.
Yes.
She doesn't either.
Yeah.
But they were somewhere at a function and the person was just visiting and then leaned over and said, "What is backstitch?"
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was cute. All right, so I also started, I think I mentioned this last time that I was going to start the top part of the Fresh Eggs Farm the part up here.
Yeah, that's what you shopped for, right?
Yeah. So I did. I got pretty far too. This is on that fabric. It's called Fossil, and it's 28 count. So this is what I have accomplished so far. And I did change the colors, and also instead of my hen standing up, she's actually nesting on her nest. So all I did to make the nest is just a whole bunch of straight stitches just going every which way. And then I also wrap the green around the white part to make it look more like a vine up there. And it's coming along beautifully. I love the colors and I like it on this brown fabric a lot. That's a lot of fun. That's a fun stitch.
Very nice.
So,
and I
you.
love your nest.
Thank you. She likes it too. She's a happy hen. So that's I don't know, I might be able to finish that this weekend, I hope and pray. And then I did a little bit more work on my Little House Needleworks ABC
Stitching ABC.
Stitching ABC.
Or Needlework ABC, one of the two.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, no, that one. Okay, so I did a little bit more work on that. Again, this one is over 1. It seems like I show a lot of over 1. I do a lot of over 2
You
also.
do a lot.
But this is really fun. Now, yes, this pattern does come with colors, but I did change them all. It's just because of where I want to put it. I know that this is going to be better. Ooh, hello. So, anyway, I got a little bit more done on that. And that is over 1, and that's also, I'm pretty sure this is 28 count, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it is.
And I think when we showed that piece, when you first started it and had some work on it, I think you also mentioned some of the colors, didn't you? That
I did.
we had
Yeah.
changed, or you had changed
Yeah.
it to.
Yeah.
And maybe in one of our
I should
previous
probably,
videos.
real quick before we get to the subscriber giveaway, I should probably let you know, for the Fresh Eggs Farm, I'm using Dublin Bay, which is crescent colors. My red is the Cayenne, crescent colors. And for her nest, avocado, but not really the green part of the avocado, it's more of the yellow part. And for the green around the vine and the leaves, whoops, that's white, is pine needles, crescent colors. And my white, of course, is grits, because I love grits. I mean, I don't like to eat grits.
Who wouldn't
but
have grits with their eggs, you know?
Exactly. Oh, hey! Yeah, it's like breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, and love those clothespins. Hashtag Team Clothespin. So, those are my colors for that. And now we have our subscriber giveaway. Today, we are looking for Helen Eisenberg.
For those of you who might be watching for the first time, every broadcast we draw the name of someone who's a subscriber, and we share the joy of needlework with them.
Definitely. So she's going to be getting another Kingsland pattern. It's called Elizabeth's Vine. this is the pattern. And she's also going to get, how many are in here? 7?
Uh-huh.
Cute, cute, cute. Oh, I don't know if I can show this or not.
It should just shake out, will it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a Mill Hill glass charm.
Yeah, and there's 7 of them in there. Really cute little glass stars that you could hopefully use on some project.
There's a story behind those I have to share. Hirschner's in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. They mail out the catalogs, needlework and everything, and when we lived in Illinois, they had a sidewalk sale in the summer times, and then a smaller version in the winter. And I found several different Mill Hill glass charms at that event, we'll call it. It's a stash builder for sure.
Yeah.
So those actually came all the way from Wisconsin.
Yes. So Helen, if you can get a hold of us either through private message on YouTube or private message on Instagram, that would be great. We'll get your goodies to you.
Yep.
Thank you very much for being a subscriber.
Yes.
So what you working on?
We showed our project rolls earlier, but I just wanted to make a note that I had not started my iStitch pattern yet, my design, because I hadn't decided what to use. And Deb helped me this week pick out from 3 different options. That's the color I'm going to use. It's called Bellagio from Gloriana Silks. It was either that or Honey Blues by Silken Color or Winter Woods, whatever that brown, variegated brown was by Gloriana. So we settled on this one.
This is the winner.
Yes.
Very pretty. That's going to look nice.
Yes. And I'm anxious to start something that I can watch TV and hold in my hand and...
I know. This is what I take to baseball.
Yeah?
Because it's one thread.
Uh-huh.
And you don't have, you don't even have to separate the threads. It's just one thread and it's...
That's your wildflower.
Yeah, until it gets too dark that I can't see at baseball. But yeah, until then, that's the project I always take.
That's neat. I ran across a few things this week in my
That's pretty.
current project. This is a sweetheart tree design that I started when I was trying to learn some new stitches back in the day, and I'm in the process of reorganizing my craft room, so I ran across it and I thought I would just get it out and finish it. I was pretty far along when I stopped, so I just need to put this filigree around the rest of the design, and then I think we're done.
Very pretty.
Yes.
That fabric is pretty.
Isn't that a pretty
Pretty and I'm
fabric?
not a pink person, but I like that. That's pretty.
And the thing that got my attention on this was the spider web roses is what it's called, and these little roses are done with that stitch.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun to learn. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Very pretty.
Then this is fun.
Coming along.
Yes, this is something we've been following for a little while. Deb bought me this pattern when we were on our retreat by La Di Da. It's called Sweet Pea, and it's our kitty cat pattern.
It looks like a bunny.
Yes, very much like a bunny. And I'm just got to finish the alphabet and put the little ear and eye on there, and then we'll be done with her.
Yeah.
I love that calico kitty.
I do too.
That's how it became known as a kitty, because I kept thinking of the floss and calling it a kitty.
Very pretty.
So that'll be done. I'm just going to have to find that other pattern pretty soon and do its,
Oh yes, that's
its
right.
complement.
Yes, it has a friend.
Yes. And then another pattern that I got, but I hadn't gotten it at the time, I showed it later, was the Oh Whale pattern by Hands On Design, and I did just get that started one night when I was rummaging through things.
Colors in that are so pretty.
They are.
They're so much prettier than what that picture looks
Yes.
like.
Yes, and I do like them on this neutral.
Oh, I do too.
She
yeah.
did it on a toasted, some kind of a cream color,
Those
but
are so pretty.
I kind of like it on that
Very cool.
more neutral brown color. And
Nice.
then this one, I kind of thought about the one you're working on there with your wildflower, and I had not shown any of my samplers I was working on. This pattern was from a retreat I went to with my mother for her birthday. You'll remember the Jean Farish Retreats Spirit of Cross Stitch. That was she commissioned us a pattern every year for the retreat. And this one was the hare and the rabbit.
The hare in the basket.
Oh, the hare in the basket.
Yeah.
Yes, a hare and a rabbit. That would be a little redundant. There's two bunnies for the price of one. And I decided to do this differently. It was done with floss, but I wanted to use wildflower. So I'm doing this with DMC wildflower, and I got I really like the results of it. It's the wildflower colors are not necessarily variegated, but they're sort of muted in a way that when you do it, it almost makes it look older than its years because of the nature of the floss. So I really like the way the wildflower looks. So that one's fun, and you'll see the red lines. I was
gonna say,
mention that.
yeah.
That's the gridding that people do to mark their fabric, and this was a smaller sampler, and I thought I would try it out. It was not very cumbersome to do on this one. I did use crimping beads, though, to hold my little threads together on the back, because if you try to knot the nylon, it works its way out, and it frustrated me, so I used the crimping beads, which I'm surprised you're not full out laughing at me for
No, I
being
think
such
that's a
a
good
geek.
idea.
But
I like that
it
idea.
held them
That's a good
together.
idea.
And I did enjoy doing the grid on this one because it was this size. I've seen people do grids for large pieces like Heaven and Earth Designs. And while it takes a long time, I will say that once you've done it, you can jump anywhere on your pattern, match the grid, and go with it. And
so
that
if
is
I pull
a
one
nice...
of these,
I love you so much more. Yes, thank you. And this is a guild project. I need to get back to this one because it's, well, maybe you can see it without anything behind it there.
that doesn't work either.
There we go.
Kind of.
This was just a grid, and what we did was picked our own colors, and then we picked stitches from the American Needlework Guild. They had this pattern set up, so we used their stitch patterns, and we picked our own colors. And this is going to go in the top of one of the Sudbury dresser boxes.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's muted. I liked the colors. And I only have...
You only have a tiny bit to do.
I have one section of a stitch, and then the borders, I think, are all the same stitch.
Okay.
But I'm doing them in the alternating colors
Do you have
around
the box
the edges.
for it already?
I do.
Okay.
Yep. That was the fun of the guild that time. They gave us a 20% off coupon for the boxes
Nice.
if we participated through the guild. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
This
is
little
so cute.
fellow I've been
I
working
can't wait
on.
to see this one finished. It's
I know.
so cute.
I need to get on him.
Yeah.
This is a Barbara Anna pattern, and it's called Summer Biscornu, and this is the color palette. It's pretty straightforward. It's just DMC floss. But there is a wildflower from the DMC color variations in it as well. And you'll see that
one?
on the crab, the
the
red one.
This one here. Okay.
It's called Wildfire is the color name.
Okay.
But I'm into my second corner, and I really want to finish him up this summer. He'll be fun.
Are you going to put the same button in the center of that?
I don't think so. It uses a yellow star.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
We could
maybe
find
something.
more fun.
Yeah, even that starfish bead that I have at home that
Maybe.
has the 5 corners,
Yeah.
something summery,
Yeah.
a little more design to it would be fun.
That's so cute.
That was fun. Oh, and I showed the fob that was the sister fob to this one by Seika watercolors. This one is an ice cream cone. Deb helped me pick different colors. I was just not real thrilled with the mint chocolate chip. She said it would be pretty as strawberry. So we did a strawberry ice cream cone. And now I need your help.
Okay.
What I want to do...
What flavor we're doing now?
Yeah, I started,
me
you'll
hungry.
see at the top, there's a neutral line right here. I was going to do a neutral, like, ecru background on the lines that are pink are supposed to all be stitched in one color. And I just thought that got lost. So I thought,
Oh, yeah.
do I want to do it in a straight pearl cotton? There's just these pearl cotton colors. I have lavender, yellow, and you'll see that cream was what I was using.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 3 I picked out. Or I went into my wildflower stash and picked out similar colors in the pink and the green and the yellow.
I like it with that pale yellow background.
The solid as opposed to the watercolor. We're
Yeah.
looking.
I like this one.
Okay.
I like that.
And the winner is, we're going to do the yellow.
Oh, that'll
That's
be
actually the
pretty.
first one I picked up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
I'm getting better. So,
Pretty.
now I'll finish that up. I was so
This is pretty.
excited. I was almost done with that. Yeah, that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I believe that's actually what's on my,
Oh, is this one that
Ice
has
cream
like
cone.
12 different...
mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's a lot of strands on that one.
Yeah.
That's their version of
That's cool.
pearl cotton.
Yep, that's pretty.
All right.
Very cool.
Yellow it is.
Now we want some ice cream.
All you have to do is stay by me long enough. At least once a day we'll get there. Okay, now
She has a Dairy Queen finder in her phone.
I do. And
So,
it works really well, doesn't it?
yes.
This is just something I thought was fun. I've been picking this up and putting it down over time. These kits you can buy in most any needle stores. They have these little ready-made kits. All you have to do is the stitching on the canvas. It's all prepared as a glasses case or whatever you want to use it as. I like it because it's perfect
Oh, for Deb's
for a
cell
phone. Yeah, for Deb's cell phone. And this one reminded me of a Mary Engelbreit
Yes,
flower pattern.
it does.
I just loved it. It didn't, I actually found this in a Hobby Lobby bin for $1. It was
Aw.
missing the colors. All it was the case with the stamped
Oh,
pattern.
okay.
And I thought, well,
So now all you have to do then is the background all the way
I
down?
just have that left to
Okay,
finish. Just
okay.
solid. Well, nope, looks like I got a little bit of
Oh,
that
yeah.
flower peeking
Yeah,
out there. I
yeah,
just
okay.
have just the bottom of that flower left to go and a little bit of that leaf. And then the rest
Cool.
is her.
It does remind me of Mary Engelbreit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
Very
tried to
neat.
pick colors that would be fun.
Yeah.
So, and this brings me to my finishes. I actually found the world's smallest finish in my craft room. This is a Just Nan tin, and it came with a pattern to
Oh, show 'em how
do.
it slides like that. That's what
Yes. It came with a pattern to finish the inside of the slide, and this is done on that opalescent Lugana, and it's over 1. That was really fun to stitch, and they give you the week's felt to finish the back of it. And this was probably one of the first things I tried playing with by hand to finish. And so if I did it again, now that I've learned how to finish things, I would probably do more of a buttonhole stitch around the outside of it. This one I just did sort of a back stitch. But that was fun. So I keep it in my stitching kit.
And it holds some needles because it has.
It does.
You put a
It has
magnet in there.
Yeah, it
Okay.
came with a magnet for the back.
Okay.
I just could not bring myself to put my needles into my sampler part.
Yeah.
They did. I guess that's part of it. And then I was wondering if, while I get my act together, if you can open that finish.
Yeah. Ooh. Aw.
You
It's
guys will recognize
beautiful.
this.
Oh, it's perfect. Oh, I love it.
You might remember we
Yes.
had part of that done earlier.
Oh.
And I finally finished the top. So I did do some stitching, but it was a different kind of stitching last week. I finally got that done.
Yeah.
And then you have to kind of hold
Voila.
that tight. The zot on the top
Gotcha.
might need to be replaced.
Zot.
Yep.
That's
And
so
then
cool.
there's a 26 petite and a regular 26 in there.
Oh. Aw. Thanks. I love
You're welcome.
it.
It's sort of like
Thank
my
you.
mom always said, you can't give a wallet without money in it. You always have to put money in a wallet when you give it. So I figured I'd better put a needle in your needle
Yeah.
holder.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful.
I still have not
Very
run
cool.
across my other one yet, though. I know it's around somewhere, but I don't know where. I'll get to it in the craft room eventually. Oh, I forgot
What?
to tell you.
What?
And I'll tell Pam if she's watching. I found the charm to my little Miss Carolina doll.
Oh,
The charm that goes on the apron of our dolls. And I told you I had it with my kit.
Yes.
I had 2 IKEA bookshelves in my craft room, and I moved them out and I rearranged the furnishings. And it was on the floor behind my bookshelf where all my
goodness.
whips went in the big bins in there.
Oh, man.
So
are you going to put it on?
I am.
Are you?
I'm going to
Okay.
switch it out. I haven't done it yet, but I am. I thought that was so fun though. I was like, I cannot believe this is there. Now we're going to go into Gadget Corner.
All right.
We have a couple of things. I was kind of excited. I went into the LNS a couple weeks ago. We were there with Misty and Jan. And I saw on her little notions board the boo-boo stick that I had brought a long time ago and shown, that was done by a company that finished them in this nice little wood grain. It's done with 2 needles. One has the top of the needle trimmed off, so it's like a little 2-pronged fork. And the other end of it is the part of a needle that they just bend the tip down, so that you can reverse stitch your mistakes. The new ones are put out by a different company, and it's Rainbow Gallery is putting out a whole line of them. And somebody had asked, this is a size 26, and that's what that means when you go to the store now in your needlework stores, or maybe even online to Rainbow Galleries. I didn't check it out first, but it's a raw finish on the wood, so it's just a pine little dowel in between the 2 needles. But they're marked 24, 26, 28, and those are the needle sizes. I would like to get a 28 one of these days, and add it to my collection.
Yeah, for as many over one that we do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This works, but it's tedious to get in there. With a 28, I think it would be easier.
Yeah.
So, happy news. They're back, and they're back through Rainbow Gallery. But I have kind of Gadget Hack Day. That's what I'm calling this.
Okay.
You've seen the really ornate little needle threaders that also have a little hook on the end that you can also pull threads through the back of your stitching with, and they run like $30 some if you buy the really pretty silver ones. I do have one, but I didn't pay $30 for it. I got it fairly inexpensively on sale through Nordic Needle one time. But in the meantime, I discovered this in the sewing section. I better put something behind that. I think it's going to get completely lost. Here, I'll use this.
Okay.
I think I'll just use this weight. If you can see the end of this little implement here, it looks like a little latch hook to doing rugs. It's got the same little door that comes down. I'm going to drop it so you can see it here. The little door that comes down, and see how tiny that is? This will actually slip through the back of your threads. It's that small. And you then push it all the way down, and when you put your thread in there and bring it back through, it will not fall out of your little tool. And it is so great for pulling tails through to end your threads.
Okay.
It's awesome. And that's maybe $2, $3.
Okay.
And there's an even easier way to do that. If you happen to use these little critters or have ever used them to floss with, they help you get your, if you wear braces, they're awesome because they get your floss in and out of your braces. But you can actually use these to pull your threads through the back of your fabric. You just slide it through and stick your thread through the loop and pull it on through. And it is the...
It pinches that shut.
Yep,
as you're
it
pulling.
pulls your loop closed and just brings your thread on through when it contracts. So those 2 little hacks there are easy ways to get the same job done.
Yes.
And you might even have some of them around your house already. And then my other gadget, this is something that I think gets discussed a lot with beeswax. People debate whether to use thread conditioner or beeswax, and I go back and forth between them depending on what I'm stitching. Using a beeswax, I want to do if I have a darker fabric.
Yeah.
Sometimes that tint shows up on the beeswax. But you probably all know Thread Heaven stopped making Thread Heaven. so you still see these, but they're not going to come out in the long run. And one of my issues with Thread Heaven in the past was the fact that it comes in a cube. And how in the world do you get your thread down in there at the bottom, and how to use it?
Once you've used a lot of it, you mean? Because then you got to stick your
pull
finger
your
down
thread
in there,
down,
yeah.
and then your threads get fibers on the top. So then you're busy trying to move the fibers off and get to clean Thread Heaven. So I always wondered why it wasn't in like a chapstick or something that you could push up from the bottom.
Ooh,
And then at our guild, I ran across somebody who was using a beeswax holder for their Thread Heaven. They took the disc out, and instead of keeping their Thread Heaven in that little cube, they packed it into the top of their beeswax holder. And then you can draw it right through and not have a problem with it. And then when you want to, you just pull it out and move it around and freshen it up and stick it back in.
That's cool.
This was really awesome.
You know what?
Uh-huh.
You could do beeswax on this side and Thread Heaven on this side.
You could.
That would be clever.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's cute.
Yep. This has become one of my favorites now. It's Thread Magic. And I didn't try it earlier because it's almost $10 at Joann's for one of these little ones.
Did you use a 40% off coupon?
That's how I investigated it. I got a 50% off coupon at some point in time, and I thought, now that I'll try. What I like is it's got the little combs that you can draw the thread through. So it's nice that way. And it does have a different texture to it than the Thread Heaven. It's more of a softer beeswax sort of feeling to it. And I do like this. I really am impressed with that.
Okay.
I find that with any of these conditioners, it helps with my over-dyed flosses that tend to knot. And I don't know why they do, but I do definitely use it on the over-dyed. I don't seem to use it so much on my DMC, but I do with my over-dyed. So
Very cool.
that is Gadget Corner.
Good idea. Good
Thank
ideas.
you.
Right.
So that brings us to the end of our broadcast. We would like to mention that we are thinking of doing something and talking about it next week. It will be more participation from you folks, though, than from us necessarily. And it's a way to get everybody involved in sharing the joy of needlework.